Calls.
It's time now for House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty.
Keep it here for market insights, featured guests, and answers to your real estate questions.
Here are your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery.
Hey. It's House Calls. Julie, you awake? It's Saturday. House Calls, Julie.
I am. Whew. Here I am.
Saturday. Woo! You know what goes on in House Calls, Julie? We talk about real estate, the real estate market, the local market. You know why? Because we are in it.
Okay.
We are in the real estate market every day.
Every day.
Every day. We out there. All right, Julie, what is going on here in the real estate market? Tell me, what is on your mind?
Well, things are good. Things are steady. I know we might sound like a broken record, but we just want to make sure you know the market's good. But every now and then, you might have a little hiccup.
Hiccup? What?
Yes. Clearly, I've had a little hiccup.
Well, tell us about it, Miss Julie. What kind of hiccup you dealing with? You want to get off your chest?
Every now and then, things go really smoothly. Inspections go well. Things are good. But every now and then, you might have an issue come up where maybe the foundation it might not be a problem, but you got to have somebody come check it. Or somebody notes the M word. Do you know what that is?
Mommy?
Mold.
Mold! Oh!
I am not a mold certified person, but apparently there are people out there that are. And so sometimes they can come into your house and it can get a little pricey. So I just want to tell you, real world issues when you're buying or selling a house, sometimes you just need to be prepared for a hiccup. And things are resolvable. Everything can be fixed. Most things can be remediated. You just got to hang in there, work hard together. Sometimes it takes a meeting of the minds. You got to get the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, the buyer, the seller.
The whole
we just got to all
enchilada.
put our thinking caps on and try to come up with a solution. Sometimes the buyer has to give a little. Sometimes the seller has to give a little. And sometimes they both need to give a little. So just a little something going on here in my world.
So for those of us that are trying to read the tea leaves that you're sprinkling out, is it fair to say that you had a sale and maybe there was a mold issue maybe reared its head?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes.
And so now we're in the process of working through that.
Correct. And I'll tell you, they had a home inspection and they noted a little bit of it. It was all good, but then the appraiser came in, and that's who noted. Sometimes you have government loans, USDA or FHA, VA. Those lenders, they're a little bit more strict on what a house can have or what needs to be done to a house in order to get that loan to pass or be approved. And so this one is an FHA loan, and the appraiser noted some mold, which
they're doing their job.
Exactly. I mean, it's frustrating, but of course that's what has to happen, especially if you're the buyer. Of course,
yes.
you want to know all the things.
You bet.
And as a seller, sometimes you just have to be ready and just be, what was my word for 2026? Flexible. So we're living it right now.
If you can't tell, we live this every day. We're not trying to diminish anything in any way, shape, or form. But you work hard. Mm-hmm. You work hard, and there's a lot of hoops, a lot of just boxes that have got to be checked. And when you find a snag, a hiccup, as you said, Miss Julie, then we got to work. We got to work through it. As a realtor, that's what we're here for. We're here to protect you.
Right. And we do this every day. So, sometimes it might not seem like it's a big deal to me, but I'm trying to help you be diffused. I don't want you to feel like the world's falling apart, because I know usually 9 times out of 10, we can come up with a solution.
You bet. It's not the first house to have had mold.
This, right.
I would fair to say that unless it is like a brand spanking new house that's never been lived in, there is some mold somewhere in them all.
Absolutely. Whenever you have a bathroom or a basement, attic, anything like that, it's most likely going to have something at some point.
I'm gonna kind of get your mind away from your hiccup here for a minute, and we're gonna talk a little bit about this market. And we've talked about the pace of the market and how we felt like things were slowing down a little bit. We've talked about inventory going up. We feel like inventory kind of bottomed out, and now we're gonna take off here from new homes coming on the market. Julie, I pulled some data. First quarter of 2025, so January, February, March, a little over 1,000 homes sold in 2025 in the greater Roanoke area.
Right.
Through February of 2026, we were at 631. Okay. So roughly, what is that? 370 homes or something like that. What would you say? Are we going to eclipse? Are we going to sell more homes in the first quarter of 2026 or less than 2025?
I would say we're going to sell more. I think we're going to at least meet it or exceed it. I feel like, I know we've got about 3 days left in the month, but we won't have those numbers for a couple more weeks. But I do think that I think it's looking better. March market's going to be strong. Okay, it's interesting you talk about it because I think it's going to be close. Like we talk about that steady thing. I think we're going to be we may be up or down a little bit, but it's not going to be a huge number. We're going to be very similar to where we were. That's what I would say. So we'll see what happens. For context, Julie, any idea in how many homes sold second quarter in 2025? So we're talking about April, May, June. And any idea on how many residential homes sold? Because I mentioned it was almost a little over 1,000 homes sold for the first quarter.
Yep.
I'd say it maybe a little bit more than that. Typically, the second and third quarters are a little bit more than what that first quarter is.
Yep, and that's fair. We're in 2025. That second quarter, we were a little over 1,600 homes.
Okay.
A little over 1,600 homes. So it's a significant increase.
Yes.
And I think the thing that if I could give a takeaway here is this market. We're rolling into spring. We can get more inventory. I think we're going to see the pace. I told you things had kind of slowed.
Right.
I think we're going to see the pace pick back up here as we move. Interest rates have been pretty steady.
Yes.
And so we're gonna see some things pick up. So if you're a buyer, don't sit on your hands.
That's right.
Be ready. Sellers, let's get her dressed up.
Yep.
Let's get her on the market and let's get her sold, baby. Sold.
Get it sold.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have the question of the week. KingeryTeam.com. We would love for you to check out all the latest and greatest listings there at KingeryTeam.com. Certainly reach out to us if you've got any questions. We'd be glad to help you there if you want to talk about a question here on the show. 276-629-9999. You can text us at that number, and we'll be glad to help you there. We'll be back in just a few.
House calls.
For generations, we've helped families find their place right here in our hometown.
We're the Kingery Team, a family business built on trust, community, and a whole lot of front porch conversations.
From grandparents to growing families, we've guided neighbors through every season of life.
Looking for more than just a house? Let's find your home together.
The Kingery Team, selling real estate 1 yard at a time. Located uptown Rocky Mount, 195 South Main Street. Give us a call at 540-483-5566. All right, Julie. We're back. Guess what? House calls. Yeah, here we are. House calls. In this second segment here, Julie, we talk about the question of the week. And this is a gooder.
Yes.
I'm just going to call it that. It's a gooder. It's one that it does happen pretty regular. But this 276 area code, and I really like this guy's name. His name's Steve.
Oh.
Yep.
Steve. What a coinkydink.
Steve in the 276 says, I want to sell my house. Julie, he wants to sell his house.
Okay.
But he says, I do not want to do anything. I ain't doing it, Julie.
Oh.
I ain't doing it.
I ain't doing it.
All right.
The words we hear all the time.
What you gonna tell Steve in the 276?
Say, well, that's fine if that's the way you want to do it, but sometimes that can make things a little bit tricky. Of course, it's your house, so I can't tell you to do something you don't want to do, but I can highly encourage you that there might be a few things that you should do. And I know Steve's cooking up something in his head. Steve here with the cowboy hat, not Steve from the 276, but he's cooking up some thoughts of he's probably going to say, well, yeah, you can. If you put in $5,000, you might not get $5,000 back out. But sometimes new flooring or, I don't know, flooring, paint, upgrading a bathroom, upgrading a kitchen, sometimes those things aren't necessarily something we're going to tell you to do because the next person might come in and have a totally different idea of what they want to do with it. But if you do have something that's broken or not working properly, or, a door frame that's rotted out. Those are things we're probably going to say it would really be a good idea to make those changes or repairs.
If I could just say, Julie, you're always so nice in your demeanor. So, and at my house, I am known as the hammer. So yes. I bring the hammer. Look, you can either pay now or pay later. Mm-hmm. That's the way I'm working with a young lady, and we met. We talked about what's going on, the condition. This was not the home. This happened to be a home that she inherited. Okay. Wasn't one she's living in, but she rented it, and now she's going to decide she's going to sell it. And I said, look, the house needs painting. Mm-hmm. I said, we talked about the scenarios of the costs, and I said, look, right now in its current condition, it's worth this. Mm-hmm. And you spend $2,000, $3,000 in painting, it's going to dress it up. It's going to add value to the property. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we talk about what we put ourselves in we're thinking about selling it, but we need to put ourselves, if you're selling a home, you need to put yourself in the buyer's shoes and look at it from their perspective. And what's the first thing they see when they pull in the driveway? Right. What are they going to pick out? They were painting. She listened to me. They're painting. Yep. And in the course of painting, she found that a crack in the tub. Okay. A crack in the tub. And she said, do you recommend I fix this? And I said, well, you can either fix it now or it will be something everyone will talk about. Right. It will be the discussion. It'll be a focal point of an offer. It will just become its own thing.
And sometimes you see that crack, and then the buyer starts to swirl down this rabbit hole of, well, if the tub is cracked, what's underneath the tub? Is there water? Is there mold? The M word again.
Oh my gosh, you said it.
It's just, and then is it a crawl space, or is it a basement, or is it on the second floor? Like, okay, now I'm going to be looking at the ceiling underneath where that tub is. Like, it just turns a buyer into all these questions about the maintenance of the home. Yeah,
no, that's a great point. And I talk with buyer or sellers specifically about clean and crisp. I think about a nice starched shirt. Oh yeah, it's that clean, first impression. It's clean and crisp. Yes. That's what we want when a buyer pulls in the driveway. We want them to think that house has been cared for. Yep. It's been looked after. We need them to understand that, and they need to get that feeling. And obviously, I know that this person that I'm talking about with this tub, specifically, they didn't live there. Right. So, at times that's a whole nother can of worms. But, you just got to address some of these things. Because if you don't, it becomes, just as Julie said, a rabbit hole, squirrel, whatever you want to call it. It becomes a distraction, and it's a distraction you got to deal with. Right. And then also sometimes you think about a house as is. And this is a whole nother, we could probably talk about this a whole nother session of house calls, but I haven't practiced, so I can't do it yet. But, as is, if you put in a listing, property to be sold as is, sometimes it's a negative context for people. They think, well, what's wrong with it? Foreclosures or something like that. Yes, that's as is. We know that. And that's, you're looking at an investment property most likely, or some of these as is, that verbiage just automatically puts somebody in a negative spin. So I don't know. Yes, of course, you can sell it as is, or you can decide you don't want to do anything, but also the price is going to reflect that then. So Steve, if I could wrap it up for Miss Julie, I would tell you that it's your home and it is your prerogative. I mean, it's your decision on what you do and you don't do. But give the agent, give the Kingery team a call. We'll sit down with you. We'll talk about the different scenarios. We'll play things out for you and say, okay, as is, this is what the home's worth. Right. If we put a couple $1,000s into mulch and some paint, a few spruces up, then it may be worth this. And and so I think that's the thing that you got to kind of work through. Guys, I've been in situations where some folks changed the bathroom and then they spent $15,000, but it it really changed the value of the home.
Right. Well, and that's where I said earlier, if you put 5 in it, you might not get it back. But it just depends. You know, if it is something that is, your bathroom's already updated and you update it again and make a certain change, then yes, you might not get that back. But if it's your 1960s bathroom and you update it, then yeah, I would say you might get more.
You're moving the needle
than what you put into it.
You're moving the needle, and there certainly are certain different things out there that provide a greater return. But that's what us here at the Kingery team are here to try to help you better understand. KingeryTeam.com. We would love for you to stop by our website, check out the latest listings. If you've got interest in selling your home, you can check out our information there, cell numbers, office number. If you want to talk to us in person, 540-483-5566. So a little call to action here, guys. If you've got a question, you want to hear us address it, please, 276-629-9999. Text that number with the question. Give us your first name. And, Steve's a great one.
Any Julies out there, we'll answer that too.
But we'll be glad to address it here on the show, and we'll go from there. But we sure do appreciate everyone. We hope everyone has a great Saturday. It's going to wrap things up, Julie, for this House Calls. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty, with your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery. If you have questions about anything discussed on today's show, text us at 276-629-9999. Join us again next Saturday at 9 for more tips, trends, and answers to your real estate questions on House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty and Southern Virginia's country station, B99.9.
House Calls.